Abyss cells are required in Crimson Desert to create powerful Abyss gears and tech and to maximize base stat levels such as health, stamina, and spirit. With the right equipment, we can take a single Abyss cell and use it to literally farm an unlimited supply of them. All of that will be covered in this guide, and as usual, useful timestamps can be found in the video description. First, it's recommended that we complete the main quest line up to Chapter 5 before really getting into Abyss cell farming. That's because they only really become necessary after unlocking the first witch that can craft Abyss gears, near the start of the Chapter 5 quest, Black and White. Witches can help us craft Abyss gears, which provide certain stat boosts such as damage or movement speed. The major component for each Abyss gear, and often the limiting one, are Abyss cells. Level 1 Abyss gears can be combined to make Level 2, and Level 2 can be combined for Level 3. All of this means that Abyss cells will be required if we want to craft the specific Level 3 gears that we want. There are enemies that drop these Abyss cells in the open world, and we'll cover a few locations now, starting with the spot up the road from the Wise Witch's house. These enemies are a good starting source for Abyss cells, but they are fairly rare and do not seem to respawn over time. As you'll see, there are only a couple large Abyss enemies at this first location, and that's because I already defeated the smaller ones, which drop one Abyss cell each, and they haven't respawned for me after weeks of in-game time. Also, I should mention that these enemies are weak to Force Palm, so we use that to defeat them. In any case, because of that scarcity, a renewable source of Abyss cells is required, which we will be covering later in the video. Just make sure to hang on to at least one Abyss cell from these next couple locations, as it will be necessary to get started. The next cluster of Abyss cell enemies can be found to the south of the A in Hernand on the map. The final location I'll cover for Abyss cell enemies is just downstream of the previous one. There's a puzzle involving black and white stones. Some of these stones are replaced with camouflaged Abyss cell enemies that we can defeat for a few more. Alright, now let's get into the renewable farming process of Abyss cells. The first step is to unlock the farm for our Greymane camp at Howling Hill. For that, we'll need to complete the entire Embers of Return questline in the Grounds of Sunrise. We'll then need to complete several quests in the Gathered Will questline, ending with the Rumor at the Gold Leaf Trading Post. That quest will allow us to recruit Camus, the Greymane farmer. We can then speak to Camus to start the Land of Dreams quest. The only hiccup in this quest I want to mention about is the step where we need to proceed with the apple picking mission at Glenbright Farm. To start it, I actually needed to go to my map, toggle on factions, and find Glenbright Farm south of Howling Hills. I then inspected it and toggled over to dispatch missions to start the mission. Once that is done, we'll need to do another dispatch mission to build the farm at our camp in Howling Hill to finally have the required place for farming our Abyss cells. So that was step 1, and I know I didn't cover it super in depth, so if you have any questions or issues, you can reach out to me in the comments and I'll do my best to help there. Now on to step 2, the actual farming process. All we need to do, at least to get started, is to use the Abyss cells in our inventory, which will produce an Abyssal Seed. We can then plant these at our farm and they will grow Abyssal trees with Abyss cells as fruits. The issue with just letting them grow naturally is that they only yield one Abyss cell each, and they don't regrow after being picked, at least not in any reasonable amount of time. They also take about a week to grow. Because of that, we are not actually netting any additional Abyss cells from the ones that we plant. That brings us to step 3, which is to get the equipment that will increase our yield of Abyss cells from the trees, specifically the Fertilizer Sprayer. Getting it will require us to unlock and complete the Abandoned Factory quest, so let's cover how to unlock it first. Again, I'm going to be covering this from more of a surface level, as in-depth coverage of all prerequisite quests would take at least an hour. We'll need to complete a series of Hernand faction quests, mainly for various houses. We can start with the House Roberts questline, and I'm not sure if the Boulder from the Sky quest must be completed, which is basically just a dispatch mission for the Greymanes to complete. After completing Continuing Concerns, we should gain access to the Lord Amidst the Ruins quest for House Circus. If not, keep completing other available faction quests within the Hernand region and continue checking back for House Circus quests. After completing Lord Amidst the Ruins, we should gain access to the House of Spears questline for House Alfonso, completion of which will also involve completing the On the Spear Tip Once Again quest. We'll then need to pass some time, sleeping for 12 hours at Campworks, and then complete the last quest for House Alfonso, Transcendent Structure. This should then unlock both the Secret of the Lost Seal and Hooves Through the Wind quests for House Circus. Completing the Lost Seal quest will inevitably result in the completion of the Silent Anvil quest. Now, once we've completed all available House Circus quests, including the horse racing one, and then fast traveled to reload the game world, we should gain access to several new Hernand faction quests. The important one, at least for our purposes, is Queen of the Silkspun Citadel under House Celeste. This quest will essentially activate the abandoned factory location for us to explore, which is located a fair distance northeast of Hernand Castle. This is where we will complete the quest to get the Fertilizer Sprayer, but before we can, we need to complete Queen of the Silkspun Citadel. To do that, we'll platform our way up near the top of the central structure to locate and defeat the Queen Spider. This boss is definitely a pain, and poison immunity or resistance is going to be helpful. I ended up dealing most of my damage to the Queen with the bow. Defeating the Queen Spider will finish that first quest and get us several rewards. It'll also automatically start us on the next quest here, restarting the Elixir factory, and this is what will get us our Fertilizer Sprayer. I'll start from the main entrance of the factory and go through all necessary steps to restart it, in the most efficient manner that I was able to work out. There are instructions scattered all about on the various machines, but we don't need to pick them up to complete the quest. We'll start by heading towards the oil barrel storage and open a panel on the lift machine before pressing a button to turn it on. We can then go grab one of the nearby oil barrels, insert it into the receptacle of the heater, force palm it closed, then pull down on the handle for a couple seconds to ignite the fuel. Off to the side, we can walk into / push against a giant button on the compounder to turn it on, then use the nearby hand wheels to adjust the levels of yellow and red substances. We need to raise the yellow substance to 4 notches and lower the red substance to 1 notch. This should result in a bright yellow compound formulation. Going up the nearby stairs, we'll make our way to the hand wheel for the crusher and turn it all the way to the right until it starts up. On our way back down, we can drop off the ledge behind the bottling machine and pull the lever down to activate it. Moving back down the line, we'll turn another hand wheel on the ingredient dispenser to reveal a lever, then pull the lever to activate this machine. Going behind the machine, we can then turn one more hand wheel to activate the washer. Getting close to the end here, we'll kick the foot button on the cultivation room door, then push the lever to open it up. Finally, we can make our way down to the cultivation room and pull on the hanging handle to activate the sprayers. If all was done correctly, our quest should be completed within 10 seconds or so. To double check, you can return to the surface and make sure that bottles of yellow elixir are being produced and making their way down the production line. This will then lead to one final and easy quest, Foundation of Abundance. All we need to do is grab the fertilizer sprayer from the now open storage unit in the cultivation room. And a Foundation of Abundance it truly is. The sprayer can be equipped in the same spot as the bow. It has 20 units of fertilizer when full, and these units slowly regenerate over time. Each planted seed only needs 1 unit of spray per day, and if done for each day while it's growing, will maximize the fruit yielded. You'll know you hit the growing plant correctly with fertilizer if it turns a darker shade of brown. In the case of abyss cells, each abyssal tree we grow can yield up to 5 abyss cells. Now, there is a way to speed up this process, which I will cover briefly. Unlocking the fertilizer sprayer will have inevitably unlocked the quest line for the Vellua Fisherman's Guild. If we complete that quest line, we will be rewarded with the field sprayer. It doesn't do anything to increase crop yield, but it does speed up growth. With both of these sprayers, we can maximize production of abyss cells. After planting a field of abyssal seeds, all we need to do is carefully go over each with the fertilizer sprayer, and we can then go over all of them with the field sprayer. This field sprayer regenerates its units of water much faster than the fertilizer, so we can be more liberal when dousing the crops. We then just need to repeat this process every day, ideally at dawn just after sleeping, and after only 3 days or so, we will have a field full of abyss cells. As I mentioned near the start of this video, the abyss cells do not seem to regrow, so our best option to harvest is to just cut all the trees down, then pick up the abyss cells that fall to the ground. Immediately turn as many of these as we want to plant into new abyssal seeds, plant them, and begin the cultivation process once again. Once established, this renewable process requires a minimal amount of time on our end to upkeep and results in a virtually endless supply of abyssal cells for all of our needs. Once again, we covered a lot in our short time together, so if you have any questions on what was covered in this guide, you can reach out to me in the comments where I'll do my best to help. If you want to see more great content, you can head over to my channel, and if you're new, consider subscribing. You're helping me feed my cat. Her name's Marshmallow. Have a great day. If you're here today, have a great Monday and a great week. And as always, thanks for watching.